Time for the Tesla and Palantir weekly update. And starting with Tesla, guess what happened, guys? It closed the weekly candle above the 786 Fibonacci. 347.58 was the target, and it had its first weekly candle close above since right here back in March of 2022. This is a huge deal, a very big significance, and this is just the beginning of something great to come. So, what does that mean? Does that mean 347.58 is your support now? Well, yeah, it could mean that, right? It could come back down, retest it next week, maybe wick below. But the goal is now to continue to see weekly candle closes above the 347.58, build a base on top of that, and then go to the 378.85, go to the 400s, go to all-time highs and beyond. That's the goal now. The goal is to maintain this level. Don't really want to see it go below. Don't want to really see it come back to the 702 now. It had its chance to retest that, and it didn't make it, right? So maybe a lot of people were front running that stock to send it higher. And that close is very significant for the future. So that's going to be my target next week. Just stay above day over day, 347.58, and then build a base to go higher. So does that mean it's really clear to go to 378? Well, not yet. And I'm going to show you why right here on my linear scale again. And we can see that when I zoom out, this orange level is your next major level, right? So it's not ready to go to that 370s yet because 358 is right there, and it already wicked above there this week and could not close above. So that's going to be the next step. Flip that to support and then build a base on top of that and then go higher. So right now we could just be in another small little range, maybe from 347, maybe a wick below, to up to the 358s, maybe a little bit above. So this could be the next range before the 370s. But if this does break out, if this 358 does become a support, then I would say all-time highs come sooner than later. And things are looking really, really, really good for the future. And one last thing I want to do before I switch to Palantir is just show you the Bollinger Bands right here. And let me just pull those up. So the Bollinger Bands, I'll take off the fib. We can just see that all price was kind of doing the whole week was maybe letting the Bollinger Bands catch up to price on a week-to-week basis. And this is fine, right? So it didn't really explode higher. It did close the weekly candle above the body of last week, but it didn't really go above the wick of last week. So I think what it's all it's doing is letting the Bollinger Band, the top band, catch up to the price so it doesn't get too carried away, too far away. But that's another thing. I just want to see the Bollinger Band add as support for Tesla to keep going higher and higher and higher. And when you add on other confluences too with the Ichimoku and the SMAs, and you can see it's getting kind of extended from those as well. So does that mean it's really going to collapse and come back down? And I think the answer is no, because the focus now becomes on the monthly charts. And just look at this monthly candle. It's just very, very huge, right? So I think for the rest of the month, we probably could see some continuation, some follow through, some maybe go to the 358, maybe the 360s. But this is already a 41% monthly candle. So with that being said, not sure if it's going to have too much more strength ahead, especially when you look to the left now. You can see the top of the body of that candle is 360. The top of the body of that candle is 359, right? So that kind of means that 358 zone that I was talking about is going to be some resistance. But the fact is, once it gets on top of that, once it starts closing candles on top of this 358 level right here, then there could be some celebration in order, because things could get really interesting really quickly and things could develop into all-time highs and beyond soon after that. And next is Palantir. So Palantir, I have here the linear scale chart. Just going to zoom out and we can see that no matter what the narrative was this week, no matter who was selling, no matter who said you should short it on CNBC or whatever, it held the 1.414 Fibonacci. So that is your support, 61.18 still. You had a breakout last week. You had a successful backtest this week. So that is the goal. Stay above the 61.18. If it can do that, then yes, it's going to go to 69.15, then maybe flip that to support, then go to 94, right? So this is the steps. And if it doesn't hold the 1.414 on a weekly close, then possibly back to 55. But so far, it kind of had its chance to do that this week. It had its chance to go back down to test 55, and it just stopped right there at 58. So maybe that's all the pain you can see. So is it really going to just skyrocket to the 69 or the 70s or 80s or 90s? Maybe not, because you already had a huge 39% candle here, then you had a huge 12% candle here, and now maybe it's going to cool off for some weeks, right? Maybe it's going to cool off here this week, next week, or just build a base on top of this 1.414, the 6118. So that is really going to be the focus, just paying attention to that 6118 for the whole week. And if it can just build a base on top, no matter how long it takes, then this can go higher. Now, just really quick, wanted to show you the log scale GAN for Palantir 2. You can see from the bottom of 2022 in December, this angle has been holding perfectly as a support and a resistance. And now it's still your support. If it still follows this angle all the way up, then it's going to be a $100 Palantir by September of 2025. But the trajectory that it is on right now, it could even get there sooner, maybe even January, maybe even March or April, May, right? We don't know. But the trajectory is looking like $100 sooner than later, but we might need to cool off a little bit because it is getting kind of extended from the angle. And you can see every time, like right here, every time it got extended from the angle quite a bit, it took its time slowly, slowly, slowly to go back to the angle before continuing its uptrend. So we could see something similar taking some weeks or maybe a little bit longer to just find the angle in order to go higher. So I'm not saying that it's just the momentum is dead. I'm just saying it got a little bit extended, a little too fast. So just got to give it some time, got to give it some patience. I'm not sure if it's really ready to break out towards that 69 yet, but it is only $5 away. So perhaps you could see a continuation going back to my linear scale chart. Perhaps you could see a continuation to this 69.15 maybe in the weeks to come. And then maybe it just gets rejected and then possibly wants to come back down to test the 61. You could just see it maybe just in this range for some time before it's really ready to break out. So yes, this chart is still bullish, but you just need to give it some time to build a base and go higher.